And here she finally is, after months of waiting, building, specking, maybe. That's great. That's all I needed.
That's spec right there.
Well, and after months of waiting, building, maybe a bit of specking, she's finally here. The Schirmer M4 GT X race car that drove the 24 hours of Nürburgring. We have the proof here. And actually, the first pickup video we did of it, well, the first ever video we did of it is actually when you bought the E92. And we went over to Tom Schirmer to talk about the E92. And this car was standing outside. And you said, well, I kind of want it.
I said, I want that car. And then Misha says, well, you have to wait like X number of years. And I said, well, okay. But I want it.
Yeah.
And then, so.
Eventually we got it.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, and well, here she finally is. But the first time, like when we made the vlog, when we picked it up, it was quite short because it was like late. We picked it up at like at 3 in the morning.
Exactly.
So it was just like, and everyone was like, why are you not showing it to us more? Dislike. So here she is.
Did you get dislikes?
I definitely got dislikes, yeah. But here she is.
I was one of them.
Yeah, you were one of them.
I was like, that was 3 in the morning, dislike.
Okay, then, well, now you can tell more about this car to people. So what are your first impressions?
I like it. It's a cool car. So the first week that we had it, when we did the onboard video that you guys are going to see here, we were breaking in the motor. So it was a brand new motor. And basically it was a track day where we went out and I think I drove 30 laps, just not full throttle, just kind of cruising it. First of all, breaking in the motor, and second of all, getting to learn the car. And I really enjoyed it because the neatest thing about this car is that you can run it lap after lap after lap after lap. It doesn't overheat.
Only the driver overheats.
The driver overheats.
There's no AC.
But you know what? If you crack the windows, and the thing, it's a car that you can drive calmly. So you're driving quick, but you're able to be calm in it. So you're sweating, but you're not really that hot. Yesterday it was about 34, 35 degrees. And I did in the 2-hour TF, I did 9 laps, I guess it was. Mm-hmm. And in that 9 laps, I got out and I could have wrung my shirt out, but I was never unbearably hot to the point that I was like, I've got to get the heck out of here. So, whereas it's a little warm, I would like some different vents. I just drive with the windows cracked and it's actually quite okay. Come October timeframe, I think it's going to be the perfect car. Mm-hmm. You know, it's going to be unbelievable because of, you know, the temperatures and everything like that. But my impressions so far are that it's a very capable car. The straight line speed isn't, you know, what you get out of the McLarens or even the Porsche or anything like that, but the cornering speed is tremendous. Mm-hmm. You can really carry high corner speeds. You can really push it in the turns, and I'm definitely nowhere near the limit of it even yet, and it's going to take me a while to get used to, you know, how far I can take it.
Yeah, because cornering speeds, that's the most like selling point of the Team Schirmer car, whether we're talking about the 2-ton F80 M3 or in this case M4, because of all the kinematics changes, all the suspension. But in this case, we also have full carbon fiber, wide body. And on the rear, we have 325 tires, right?
Yep, and on the front, we have a 285.
285, but you said you're probably going to even go wider.
As we're setting stuff up and we're getting it dialed in. See, this car is a VLN N24 car. And so all the experience with it is on slicks, and the setup is on slicks and an 18-inch wheel. And to get this size tire, we've had to go to a 19-inch wheel because there's no 18 that's wide enough that would work on the car. Mm-hmm. So we've gone to a 19 with a semi-slick instead of a full slick tire. So now what we're doing is making sure the setup's right. So I have a feeling that we're going to go to a 305 on the front. That very well could happen actually in the next week or so.
And my gimbal died. So there is that. So, yeah, I would say enjoy the onboard. Or is there anything you want to say about it?
About the onboard?
Or about the, I don't know.
No, I mean, take a look inside. Let me open up the door. You can show the inside of it a little bit. Basically, you've got all carbon floor pans. That was all installed for it to be a road car. The carbon floor pans and the carbon door cards, those were made for it to be a road car. Mm-hmm. We have the race navigator built in to the dash, so it's hardwired. The car still is equipped with VLN equipment. If you look up here on the roof, this is set up for VLN for the GPS alga. So this is what these are the 2 antennas so that you can track the car. We still have the antenna here for the radio for the communications, and then inside this fin we have the GPS module for both the race navigator and for the AIM dash.
That's pretty cool.
The AIM dash, we can come around. I can show you that a little bit more. So you've got the AIM dash. I don't know why I opened the door because it's not like a light comes on. Maybe, Misha, you can flip the red switch.
Yeah, so red switch is here.
And that's basically our power switch. And you can see we have our Apex logo in there, and then we have Schmickler's logo, and then the M Performance logo. Schmickler does all the programming and setup for the car. So what you see here is you have different setups, okay? So we still maintain power steering. We have throttle sensitivity
So
adjustments.
the speedometer is GPS based, that's why it's thinking that we're going somewhere.
The speedometer is GPS based. It's in the barn, so we don't have the best signal right now. So it's locating. So once it will settle down, but if you're sitting outside, it sits at 0. And then this is actually either a running time or a lap time. So right now in the AIM dash, we actually, since we're connected through GPS, we actually have it set to Nurburgring BTG, right? And so like today on the track day, I can turn it on, and every lap it activates and it resets and it shows you your live lap time. Now obviously during track days, we don't do that. You know, that's not necessary, but it is neat to see if you're doing taxi laps or something. The simple reality is that everyone wants a taxi lap. This car was doing taxi laps at around 7:20 today, and you set a reference lap and you keep it at that. You know, the car can go faster, but we don't need to do taxi laps at sub 7. That's not necessary. So the lap timer doesn't end up only being a tool to see how fast are we going. The lap timer can end up actually being a tool to keep us from going too fast. And that's nice. So let's say that you are set at a 7:20 lap time because it's a track day, and you come to a yellow flag. And then you notice that you're 10 seconds behind. So then you hold your lap at 10 seconds behind. You get it to another yellow flag, you get to 25 seconds behind, and you hold your lap at 25 seconds behind, and that gets you a similar pace. That helps you look after brakes, after tires. And the customers that went today that went in a 720 range were just mind blown. You know, it really is a fast setup. You've got straight cut gears, you've got no AC, so it's hot. You know, there's just so many things going on from an emotional standpoint that just makes the car.
That makes even the gimbal go crazy again,
because makes all the gimbals go crazy.
It went a bit on, but
they just lose their shit.
Just lose their shit. Yeah, speaking of the upgrades, so let's go quickly over the modifications. I know they're pretty much endless.
You know, that's the thing. I mean, if you look at the paperwork on this car, the actual registration paperwork, it's 3 pages long. You know, you can go from the obvious things such as the antennas, the AIM dash. You've got
you have antennas actually in the papers.
The antennas are in the papers, yes.
Everything's in the papers. That's crazy. But what we can see is actually what's less obvious. The engine is not that tuned.
No, it's not actually. Basically, we have an ECU mapping on it similar to what would be in the GTS.
Or what we have also.
Right, exactly, in that car. And so the reality is that the idea behind this car is it's extremely fast in the corners and it has plenty of power. You know, if you run GT4, you run GT3, you don't get unlimited power. You know, if you're in a racing series, you don't just get to build it to 800 horsepower. Like
it has actually more horsepower now than it used to have in the race.
No, it actually, it's about the same.
About the same.
It's about the same. And so the idea behind this car is that you have a car that's very potent, very capable. You've got a very expensive differential. You've got an engine on the other side that, at the end of the day, if you blow it up, you buy another stock BMW motor and you bolt it in. And that's the idea behind something like that. That's what really the turbo era has brought the ability to put in motors in cars that do give you a lot of performance, but don't have to be over the top. So it's a car where it's not necessarily a cheap car. If you were to hurt the motor, you could get a new BMW M4 motor and essentially bolt it in and be ready to go. There's some modifications you have to make, but nothing that's going to break the bank, like if you blew up your 9,000 RPM NA motor, you know.
Like this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, again, regarding modifications.
There's no motor where you pointed though, just want to make that clear.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah, but in general, lots of suspension upgrades. And the thing that stands out more is like the full wide body, carbon fiber. It's very hard to see it because the car is black, but you're going to rewrap it in silver.
Thinking about doing it in silver, what do you guys think? We're thinking about doing it in silver because that'll show the lines really well. So it's just a thought. There's an E36 that I'm building as well, or that Tom's building, Schirmer's building, and then we're going to run it. I'll shut this door. You might be able to get a little bit more look at how wide it is. And that's going to be silver as well with matte black stickers. So it might be neat to make these two cars match. And then possibly I'll do the E46 to match the E92, you know, kind of have a theme between the two cars.
Okay, and then one question that was asked also a couple of times is what has been done to this car when it was a race car to make it street legal? So what has been changed?
Well, There are some things that had to be done in terms of the seats. So obviously we couldn't run the same race seats.
Yeah, with the ears.
Right,
We explained it multiple times. You're not allowed to have them because they restrict the visibility, according to the general thinking.
So we had to go to a different harness with the push button, which is, for
so not with the twist.
Exactly.
Because,
So we had to go to that. We got rid of the carbon doors because a safety side impact, the door actually provides a lot of protection for you. And then we got rid of the plastic windows and went to a glass window that rolls up and down. So the electronics had to be put back in for that. We went to different mirrors, again putting the electronic mirrors back in so that you can adjust them from the driver's seat. I mean, I can even fold the mirrors in with the button. So the race car didn't have those functions. We had to make some modifications to the fuel tank.
And the wing, obviously.
And the wing had
but
to
the fuel tank is still like...
No, but well, that's just the filler.
Yeah.
So the tank was changed to one that met road specification. It's still over 100 liters, so that's really nice. We did 11 laps on this car with one tank of fuel, which was pretty cool. That's definitely the only car that I've got that we can do that kind of laps with. Those really are the main things that had to be done to get it, to road legal. There was more little odds and ends, but those were the main things. We had to obviously ensure that things like a horn work, turn signals work, and that nature. But for the most part, those were the major conversion items.
Yeah. So the splitter was actually also like this when it came, or
yeah, this was the splitter as it was on the race car.
It's actually not that aggressive, I would say.
No, it's not that aggressive, but this is really nice because if you compare this to the stock car, the stock M4 or M3, you don't have any really good way to do brake cooling. You can see that we have large inlets for brake cooling.
One on the front, well, two on the front and two on the side, and the side skirts over there. Let me just quickly show it.
And then there's subtle things that you don't see and you don't realize. Look how large these air vents are. This gets all of the air, the high pressure air out of the wheel wells. Same thing on the back bumper. We've got big canals in the center of the exhaust. You see how the exhaust is pushed out to the outsides? And then in here we have all of our coolers, and there's actually a metal ducting that's built that brings air from under the floor pan of the car and then runs it out into those coolers. So that's really cool. And then there's subtle things, just in the simple fact of how the carbon fiber was worked. You've got the different bonnet here. You've got, if you look at this car, for example, when you just walk up to it, this is how big the ducting is on the inlet for the bumper here, right? So that's how big that ducting is. Now go back and look at it on the other car, and you can see that it's really, space-wise volume, it's probably twice as big.
Yeah.
So this inlet in the bumper is much larger, and but that's being able to be accommodated because it's a wide body.
Well, that's pretty much it. Enjoy the onboard lap, or maybe you haven't already enjoyed. I don't know which sequence this video will be edited, but there's going to be more once you get used to the car. Maybe also with different tires.
In fact, since you did the video, now the motor's broken in, and we've been pushing it much harder already. So. That's definitely even, if you had more time today, you would have been able to get out and go for an even quicker lap.
So that's something for next time.
Yep.
Good. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and let us know if you have any extra questions about this car, and we'll be happy to answer them in the comment section below. And for everything else, stay tuned, subscribe, like, share, you know how it is. And next time, let's talk about this one.
Sounds good.